In this video, I'm gonna test the speaker quality of two conference speakerphones, the Poly Sync20, which is the brand new model from Poly, and I'm gonna compare it to the older version. This is the Poly Calisto 7200. I've used both of these devices in hybrid meetings. In hybrid meetings, you combine in-person and online participants into a single meeting experience. In addition to those two conference speakerphones, I'm also going to include my old Bluetooth speaker from Ultimate Ears. I've used this in a previous version of my hybrid meeting setup. My name is Markus, and on this channel, I help you engage better with your audience. Everything I'm talking about is linked in the description below the video. There you can pick up my hybrid meeting checklist, my video conferencing checklist, or a t-shirt like this. This video is not sponsored. I just got these two conference speakerphones from Poly as review units. Here's how I tested the speaker quality of these devices. I placed the device on the table and I replaced one of the chairs around the table with a mic stand. And on that mic stand, I clipped a simple lavalier mic. This is the BOYA BY-M1 lavalier mic. That mic is connected directly to the camera as I'm recording the test. On the laptop, I have a pre-recorded sound file that I recorded right here in my studio/office/living room with this microphone. This is the Samson Q2U, also linked in the description. So I played the same file through all the devices so that we can get a good comparison between them. In post-processing, I only made one change to the audio. It turned out that the Poly Sync20 is so much louder than all the other devices, so I put a limiter on that clip only. For each of these Bluetooth devices, you are going to hear two different samples. And the reason is that there are two modes in which they can be configured inside of Windows. They all have a headset mode, and then they have another mode, which is sometimes called speaker mode or headphones mode. I'm going to indicate on the screen which audio you're listening to. After the samples, I'm going to come back to discuss the relevance of these two different modes. For these Bluetooth devices, I set the output volume to maximum and then went down one step from there. Let's start with the built-in speakers in my laptop as a baseline. This is a pre-recorded audio sample for testing my speakers. Speaker test 1 2 1 2, speaker test 1 2. Next, we're going to hear the Poly Sync20 first in speaker mode and then in headset mode. This is a pre-recorded audio sample for testing my speakers. Speaker test 1 2 1 2, speaker test 1 2. This is a pre-recorded audio sample for testing my speakers. Speaker test 1 2 1 2, speaker test 1 2. Now let's do the same thing for the Poly Calisto 7200. This is a pre-recorded audio sample for testing my speakers. Speaker test 1 2 1 2, speaker test 1 2. This is a pre-recorded audio sample for testing my speakers. Speaker test 1 2 1 2, speaker test 1 2. Next, we have the Ultimate Ears Mini Boom Bluetooth speaker. I have used this in my previous hybrid meeting setup. I used it for sound out and for sound in. I used that BOYA BY-M1 lavalier mic, which is a much cheaper option than doing it with these conference speakerphones, but the sound quality is still really good. This is a pre-recorded audio sample for testing my speakers. Speaker test 1 2 1 2, speaker test 1 2. This is a pre-recorded audio sample for testing my speakers. Speaker test 1 2 1 2, speaker test 1 2. By the way, if you're wondering how the microphone sounds in these conference speakerphones, then stick around to the end of the video. On the end screen, I'm going to link to my microphone test video for these devices. When I listen to these audio samples, to me it's clear that the speaker mode/headphones mode is always better than the headset mode. But here's the twist. When I select a speaker in Zoom, I can actually only use the headset mode. Let me show you as we jump over to the laptop. In this clip, I have connected the Poly Sync20 to my laptop and I can choose two different speakers. But when I run the speaker test, only one of them actually works, and that is the headset option.
Select the earphones.
By the way, the audio sample in this particular clip I recorded with the built-in microphone in my laptop. That means that you can hear me clicking the mouse every time I make a selection. And that is one reason why you should never use the built-in microphone in your laptop. Hit like if you're getting value. So now that we know that only the headset mode is actually usable in Zoom, let's play those headset-only clips again and we can make another comparison. This is a pre-recorded audio sample for testing my speakers. Speaker test 1 2 1 2, speaker test 1 2. This is a pre-recorded audio sample for testing my speakers. Speaker test 1 2 1 2, speaker test 1 2. This is a pre-recorded audio sample for testing my speakers. Speaker test 1 2 1 2, speaker test 1 2. What do you think? Which of these speakers sounds the best to you? Put your comments below the video. Here's my reflection on this comparison. I think both of the Poly conference speakerphones sound really good. And I also know from practice that the volume is loud enough to be heard in a conference room like the one that you're seeing in the video. And even though the headset mode sounds worse than the speaker mode, the quality is still good enough to run effective hybrid meetings. And if we look at the people who have been in my hybrid meetings, their reaction to the sound quality of these devices has also been really good. Of course, you can use these devices for other applications than video conferencing, and that's when this better quality speaker mode actually comes in. I use the Poly Sync 20 to listen to live streams, and it is actually good enough to listen to music as well. It's a little bit difficult to capture in this testing environment, but the bass in the Poly Sync 20 to me actually sounds really, really good. There's links to all of the products I've been talking about in the description below the video. If you want to sample the microphone quality of the Poly conference speakerphones, then click or tap the screen right here. In that video, I compare the microphone pickup range at 3 different distances in that same conference room. For more communication tips every Thursday, please subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.